Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
صل على محمد وآل محمد وسلم محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فادخل معه تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لواءي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب وما تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء. فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء؟ من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر قبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم مهموم لله وفرج الله همنا، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، كذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
Now I will request Ali Asad to come and recite salutation for the Sayyid Salaam. Please everyone kindly support me with Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه.
فاطمہ زہرا، فاطمہ زہرا، فاطمہ زہرا، فاطمہ زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، تیرے در پہ استغاثہ ہے، تیرا ممنون میری شہزادی یہ جہاں سارا ہے، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، تو ہمیں حفظ و امان دے دے، اپنی چادر کا صاحباں دے دے، تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بی بی، تو جسے چاہے دو جہاں دے دے، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، آنسوؤں نے دعا مانگی ہے، تیری تسبیح پڑھ کے دل نے تجھے پکارا ہے، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، قرض مقروض کا ادا کر دے، مفلسوں کا نصیب وا کر دے، جن کی گودی ہری نہیں بیوی، ان کو اولاد تو عطا کر دے یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، بس تو ہی مراد دیتی ہے، تیری چوکھٹ دار الہی کا استعارہ ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ فرش مجلس ہو یا مصلی پر، ہر جگہ کہہ رہا ہے رو رو کر، ہم رہیں نہ رہیں مگر بی بی، تا قیامت رہے غم سرور یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، تیرے بچوں کا غم مناتے ہیں، اپنی اولاد سے کہیں بڑھ کے غم یہ پیارا ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ ان شہیدوں کا یہ مقدر ہے، صاحبہ ان کا تیری چادر ہے، ان کو سینوں پہ اے میری بی بی داغ ماتم نشان حیدر ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، خلد میں شہید جب جائیں، تیری آواز آئے آنے دو یہ ہمارا ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ تیرے دل پر ہے جو ستم ٹوٹے، زندگی میں جو تو نے غم دیکھے، آسماں و زمیں پہ گر ہوتے، مثل شب وہ سیاہ ہو جاتے یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، دیکھ کر تیری مصیبت کو سارے عالم کا دل مصائب سے پارا پارا ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ تجھ کو امت نے یوں ستایا ہے، مرگ محسن پہ بھی رلایا ہے، تجھ کو بابا کے بعد امت نے ہائے دربار میں بلایا ہے یا زہرا، یا زہرا۔ اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، کتنے صدمے اٹھائے ہیں تو نے، جیت جی تجھ को मेरी शहजादी गम ने मारा है। या ज़हरा या ज़हरा ऐ मेरी बीवी ऐ मेरी बीवी कितने सदमे उठाए हैं तूने, जीते जी तुझको मेरी शहजादी गम ने मारा है। या ज़हरा या ज़हरा ऐ मेरी बीवी ऐ मेरी बीवी तेरे दर पे सर झुकाते हैं। हर हुसैनी का तेरे टुकड़ों पे ही गुजारा है। या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा या ज़हरा सलावत।
Now I will request Sayyid Ayaam to come to stage and present for us today. Everyone, Muhammad wa Muhammad salawat.
حيدري ومحمد وأهل بيت محمد بلندتر صلوات.
الله صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن أعدائهم أجمعين. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين وحجة رب العالمين، المنتجب في الميثاق المصطفى في الضلال، المطهر من كل آفة، البريء من كل عيب، المؤمل للنجاة، المرتجى للشفاعة، المفوض إليه دين الله. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيلة عقيلة الطالبين زينب الكبرى وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. جاء رجل إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وقال: يا رسول الله، ما حق الوالدين على ولدهما؟ فقال رسول الله: هما جنتك ونارك. For the hastened appearance of Imam صاحب العصر والزمان، أرواحنا وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. loud صلوات. For your well-being and the well-being of your family and the Zuwar of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, al-Atabat al-Aliyat, and another salawat. Before I start my lecture, I request all the ladies to come a bit forward, and the men as well, the gentlemen, to come a bit forward. And those phones that you have in your hands, put them away for a minute or two so we can pay attention to the lecture. If I see anyone holding a phone, playing on the phone, I extend the lecture another half an hour. And I have plenty of lectures. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We can go from one to another. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala. Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq alayhi afdalus salati was salam said one of the rights of a child over his father before the child is even born is to choose for the child a rightful mother. And that brings up the whole discussion about marriage and opens up many doors about marriage, because today in our societies, in our communities, whether that it's a Pakistani community or Iraqi or Afghani or Iranian or any other Shia community, when we talk about marriage, the first thing that comes to mind is the dowry. The first thing that comes to mind is the house. The first thing that comes to mind is the materialistic things that people think this will make this couple happy or not. For example, a while back, a person came to me personally and said, I need you to recite for us the aqd al-shar'i, the dowry. I asked him, what is the dowry? Because we have to recite that. The mahr. He said, Sayyid, the dowry is $1 million house. $1 million house. Why? I asked him, this price was said is a random price. He said, no, my yet-to-be father-in-law, he wants to make sure that his daughter is going to live a happy life. So that's the price he has set. And you know, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, today in the market, if you want to buy a house, $1 million is not going to get you something that big, especially in the St. George areas. But people today, they have put a price tag on their ladies, on their girls when they're about to get married. So pay attention to this, pay attention. That's what Imam al-Sadiq said to this companion. One of the rights of a child over his father, before the child is even born, before that, is for him, the father to be, is to choose a rightful mother. It's not that I choose a girl for marriage because of her, face, because of her beauty, and I think this is going to be my happy ever life I'm going to have because of her beauty. That's all I'm thinking of, not her akhlaq, not her religious duties, because unfortunately today, with one or two filters on Instagram, anyone can be beautiful. Even Shrek can become beautiful. 102 filters. And the construction that is being done on the faces today, the construction that is being done on that surface, hours and hours, sometimes minutes, mascaras and such and such. I learned this after marriage, of course. I didn't know about this before. Unfortunately, this is the reality today, whether you like it or not. And whoever doesn't believe in that today is reality, and that is the sad part of our reality. People look in marriage from both sides, of course, there are mistakes. The girl is looking for the boy to be handsome, to be rich. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't take that as something that we're saying there is something wrong with that. But there are priorities that you have to look at. There are checklists a person has to look at. One of the first is their salat, their siyam, their akhlaq, their taqwa, piety. Not how much money he has in his bank account. And today it's not just money in the bank account. It's how much they have in the wallet on Binance. And this is it. Can he provide? That's a question that comes up. Many people ask, can he provide? Yes, that's right. He cannot be unemployed and thinking, well, I'm going to just get the paycheck from Centrelink every fortnight and that's going to be enough. That's not the right way a person to live his life. A person has to get out, he has to work. That's all aside, but there are priorities. And those priorities are about a person looking for a pious husband, and vice versa. When it comes to a husband to be, man looking for the rightful mother for the child. Tomorrow, that woman that you're going to marry, you're going to have a month or two honeymoon. And the people, they love this honeymoon phase. And I tell them, I always say to the youngsters, to the young lads, honey, unfortunately for some people, turns into vinegar. Honey turns into vinegar. That honeymoon phase, whether it's 1 month or 2 months, it goes away. That 1 or 2 months, and the people here, they know, the older you are, you understand what I'm talking about. 1 or 2 months, both sides, they're showing the best part of their akhlaq, the manners. As soon as that goes away, vanishes, you see the true nature of that person that you married. Their true nature. When that makeup starts to be wiped out, you see the true woman that you married. When that akhlaq is wiped out from that husband, you say, what kind of a man did I marry? Honeymoon. This man, he took care of me, he opened the door, he pulled the chair for me. Now, unfortunately today, I'm telling you this is in some communities. We have fights in families that the woman is saying, this is my paycheck and that's your paycheck. You spend yours for the family, I spend mine on myself. Is this what Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalu salati wa salam has asked from us? Lady Fatimah al-Zahra salamullahi alayha. Allahumma salli ala. How was she when she was about to get married? When she became a mother? We have to learn from these role models, because today we say, yes, we believe in Ahlul Bayt, we love Imam al-Hasan, we love Imam al-Hussein, Amir al-Mu'mineen. As soon as you say his name, you get up and you say, yes, I love Amir al-Mu'mineen, but our manners, our akhlaq, our etiquette, our way of life, our lifestyle, it goes against everything Ahlul Bayt stand for. As long as it goes alongside the ahadith with the lifestyle of mine, everything is right, I'm happy. But if the hadith comes and changes one or two things in my lifestyle, I say this hadith is wrong, I don't follow this marja, I don't follow this alim, and then later on this person goes up and up and up, I don't follow this imam. Isn't that right? So, marriage aside, a mother, what's the role of the mother? First thing first, let's go about responsibilities. You know, in Islam, we have responsibilities, all of us. That's why Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein Zayn al-Abidin alayhi afdalu salati was salam, he has Charter of Rights. Download it from the web. You can download the PDF version of it for free. You don't have to go purchase it. Arabic on the side, and of course English, side by side. And recite them. 50 rights. Risalatul Huquq. 50 rights. Haqqullah is the first one. The right that you have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The right of the eye, the right of the stomach, the right of your hands, the right of your wife, the right of your husband, the right of your child, and the list goes on. We have responsibilities. I can't just sit back and say, this is the responsibility of fulan and fulan and fulan, and I don't do my part. That's not right. Everyone has a responsibility. And of course, a father has a responsibility and a mother has a responsibility. In today's society, 21st century, father is more after providing. A father is more after providing. I speak for myself. I'm more after providing, paying the mortgage, paying for the electricity bill, and you know it's going up, unfortunately. If you don't have solar panel, it's worse. Huh? Mortgage is going up every now and then. RBA every second day is going up. The father is thinking, how can I provide? I don't want my children to become homeless. I don't want to sell my house and go to rent. That's one part of it. Of course, this is very important. The mother has more responsibility on her. The mother, she has responsibilities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on her that the father doesn't have it as much as the mother does. That's why you find, for example, Sheikh al-Ansari, one of the grand ayatullahs, when his mother passed away, he was walking behind the janazah of his mother and he was hitting on his head, amama off, the turban off, and he was hitting on his head and on his chest. Old man, and the sheikh, beard is white. They came to the sheikh, Sheikhana, his students. Sheikhana, you're a alim, grand ayatullah, it's enough. He said, whatever I have is because of this mother of mine. Whatever I have become is because of her. She taught me everything, and I became now Sheikh al-Ansari. I became now a Sheikh Ansari. Today, for example, who brought the children to the Majlis? The father and the mother. That's Sheikh al-Ansari, rahmatullah alayh. And the way he was with his mother. It's because of the mother. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mentioned in the beginning of the Majlis, the Prophet said that the mother and the father, they are your paradise and your inferno. How can the father be your paradise and the inferno? And how can the mother be paradise and inferno? Yes, that's possible. The mother can teach the child to become a thief, a thug, and so on and so forth. And the father can do the same. And of course, vice versa. They can teach them to be pious, mu'mineen. There was a man, he started his life stealing. He stole and stole. This is a true story. They mention it in the books of history. He started stealing this, that, until he, unfortunately, became that one day he went into a house to burglarize the house, take whatever this house had. He didn't know that the owner of the house was in the house, napping. As soon as he opened the door to enter the house, the owner, he woke up, he came to him to throw him out. He attacked the owner and he killed the owner. They took him, they arrested him. They took him to the court and they gave him death penalty. And they were about to execute him. Shanqan hatta al-maut. They put the rope around his neck. This is in the old times. They said, what's your last request, last wish? He said, where is my mother? Listen to this. This is a true story. Where is my mother? They said, we don't know. He said, Mom, Mother, Ummah. She came from the crowd. I'm his mother. Mom, come closer to me. Come closer. She came closer and closer and closer. They thought he wants to kiss her, embrace her. The last time, he said, Mom, take out your tongue. Your tongue, take it out. She took it out. He attacked and he bit the tongue and he cut her off. Blood started gushing out and he threw the tongue away. What did you do with your mother? How dare you? He said, wait a second. You have no idea. Don't judge before you know the story. I was a child. I went to the marketplace. I stole one egg. I brought it home. I gave it to my mother. Mother, take the egg. She didn't ask me, where did you bring the egg from? Is this halal or haram? She took the egg, she cooked it, and she prepared it for me, and she put it in front of me and her. We sat down and we ate. The second day, I went for the second egg. One egg became 2 eggs. And then I became more and more and more until I'm right now, you see me in front of you about to be executed because of my mother. From day one, if there wasn't any discipline from my mother, where is the egg coming from? I wouldn't be here today. So there are 5 I want to mention. There are 5 responsibilities. And of course, the father can chip in. It doesn't mean that the father sits behind. No, this is your responsibility. First thing first, the religious education. Religious. That's the first thing first. Lady Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha, what did she say to Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba Kareem Ahl al-Bayt when they were supplicating the night of Qadr? She said to him, sit down, O son. After she prepared them, this hadith, it says that she prepared them for the night of Qadr. How did she prepare them? She said to them, sleep during daytime so that you can stay up the night. Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein, Lady Zainab and Lady Kulthum. So they sat down at night to supplicate, to recite ad'iyah, munajat. They start reciting this dua here and there. He said to his mother, Imam al-Hasan, to Lady Fatima, Salamullahi alayha, Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen, "Oh mother, you didn't recite any dua for us. It was only for the neighbors. There was no dua for us." She said to him, "What? Al-jar thumma ad-dar." First the neighbor, then us. See how she's brought up Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, Lady Zainab, Kulthum. What do you think Imam al-Hassan became Imam al-Hassan? How do you think Imam al-Hassan became Imam al-Hassan, Kareem Ahl al-Bayt? Imam al-Hussein became Imam al-Hussein. Lady Zainab. You might say, well, Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein are Imams. Lady Zainab, Salamullahi alayha, the mountain of patience. al-Masa'ib. al-Masa'ib Zainab. When she delivered her sermon in Kufa, the narrator says it was like her father Ali reciting in her ears, and she was repeating what Ali was saying. And if you put right next to each other khutbah Fadakiyya of Lady Fatimiya al-Zahra and khutbah Lady Zainab of Kufa, you see they are so similar. تشربون الطرق وتقتاتون القد والورق أذل خاسئين تخافون أن يتخطفكم الناس من حولكم فأنقذكم الله تبارك وتعالى بأبي محمد. اللهم صل على خطبة فدكية, and then bring khutbah Lady Zainab in Kufa. You see, mother, daughter. Mother, daughter. She learned it from her. And then today, when you come and you speak with the so-called feminists, and unfortunately, the West is playing its part, and we have to be very careful. When they talk about feminism, the feminists, they come and they say, woman has right to seek education. Well, Islam, in the beginning of Islam gave that right to the ladies, to the woman. Even if you today see some countries, so-called, Muslim countries, that don't give that right to the ladies, it doesn't mean Islam didn't give it. Lady Fatima al-Zahra in Medina, she used to teach the woman in Medina tafsir of Quran, jurisprudence. Lady Zainab, even in Kufa, Lady Zainab was doing the same for the ladies in Kufa. A daughter learning from the mother. So that's in first, the dua. And of course, there was this connection between Imam al-Hassan and Fatima al-Zahra, Imam al-Hussein and Fatima al-Zahra. The hadith al-Qasar that we just recited. See the respect? Imam al-Hassan comes in and he says, Assalamu alayki ya Ummah. Wa alayka as-salam. See the respect, the greetings. Ya qurrata ayni wa thamarata fuadi. There's that respect. There's not that shouting. There's not that kind of anger all the time. Sit down, get up, do this, do that. And he goes, why my child is not learning? Well, you're always hitting the child on the head. You think the child is going to learn? There has to be this discipline that you have to be mubashiran wa nadhira. Rasulullah was both. See, Musa ibn Imran, alayhi afdal salati was salam, was what? Nadhira. Musa ibn Imran, Musa was always talking about hellfire. Oh, people of Israel, hellfire, hellfire, be careful, punishment of God. Isa, on the other hand, Jesus Christ, we celebrated his birthday yesterday, yes? Isa was different. Isa was always telling the people, what? Rahmah, mercy, paradise. Don't worry. Of course, this is part of it. Rasulullah was both. Mubashiran wa nadhira. And we learn from Ahl al-Bayt alayhim afdal salati wassalam. Whenever Imam al-Hassan comes from the mosque, Lady Fatima says to Imam al-Hassan, pay attention to these beautiful narrations. She says to him, oh son Hassan, what did you today hear from your grandfather Rasulullah? What was the sermon about? He says, mother, do you want me to recite for you the sermon? Yes. She tells him, sit down on that wasada. Wasada is like a pillow. Sit on it and recite for me what Rasulullah said in the mosque. There was no live streaming. So Imam al-Hassan, he copies whatever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the mosque, and he comes and he recites that for his mother Fatimah al-Zahra salamullahi alayha. Allah. Salat, of course, Siyam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the end of time, that we're living in right now, the major occultation, it will be very bad, akhir al-zaman. Jabir was sitting next to the Prophet. He said, what should we do in the end of time? What should the people do in the end of time? He said, if'alul khair, do good. And your children, they learn from you. If the father, as soon as he hears the adhan, he gets up, prepares himself, wudu, and he puts the sajjadah, and he puts the turba, and he goes, Allahu Akbar, the child, regardless of his age, regardless of her age, they come and they join. If this happens also with the mother, when they see the mother, as soon as she hears the adhan, she's wearing the chadar, she's putting the muhur, the turba, and she's standing to pray, the daughter also comes and she says to her mother, Mom, why don't you buy me this chadar for me as well? She learns it from the mother. Not that the mother during salah time, she's listening to something or she's watching something, or the father, of course, does the same thing. I'm watching the news, I'm watching the game, whatever it is. The child learns that. You do good, I do good. Of course, that happens, they replicate, they learn. That's the first one, religious education. The second one is society education. The mother teaches the child how to go right, how to go left. Not to be having fear of the society. She disciplines the child that you are about to enter into, unfortunately, this is the reality, in a folks of wolves. Be prepared. A while back, there was a young man sat next to me, and they brought, plates of fruit, and with the fruit, they brought a knife, some orange, some apple. He didn't eat anything. I said to him, you don't want to eat? He said, well, I don't know how to peel the apple. I said, how come? He said, well, my mother has been doing this for me all my life. I don't know how to do it. I said, how old are you? In his 20s. I said, really, you don't know? Are you joking? He said, no, Sayyid. Honest to God, hand to God. My mother has been doing it all my life. Now be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Throw him into the... How are you going to learn how to swim? Throw him into the river. Let him learn. Don't just be so gentle with them. Let them see the hardship of life. Society is not gentle. Not everyone is honest. Not everyone has piety. You know this. The elders, they know more than me. Society is not gentle for you to say, let me peel it for him. Let me feed him. Let me do that for him. Some, unfortunately, even after their marriage, the mother comes and she cleans the house for them. What kind of a life is this? Let him learn. That's the second one. Society, education. The third one is ethical education. Ethics and etiquettes. If the mother herself, she doesn't know the ABCs of morals, she's going to teach that to her child. If the mother herself lies. One year ago, one person called me, a lady. She said to me, Sayyid, I want to divorce my husband. I said, okay, how come? She said, Sayyid, he curses me. He insults me. And I know it's not always one-sided. Sometimes people, they make it seem it's one-sided. It's not, is it? I said, where did it start? Tell me of the history. She said, nothing, Sayyid. I didn't do anything wrong. One day I cursed him. I insulted him in front of the children. I said to him something, I don't want to mention here. Called him an animal name. And I started repeating that. It became very normal for me. I said, then what happened after that? Well, he started insulting me. And she was surprised, as if, why? Why is he doing that? I said, well, this is not a one-way street. You slap, you're gonna get slapped. You respect, you get respected. And why are you doing that in front of the children? If you have a problem, go sit down in your bedroom, close the door, have a discussion with your husband, have a discussion with your wife. Not that you insulting the husband in front of the children and you keep doing it and you say, why is he insulting me now? You've been doing it all this time. If there is that education of morals and etiquette, the mother teaches the child, sit down right, eat right, dress right, etiquettes that today, unfortunately, we lack etiquettes. We lack ethics. Najasat and taharat, we lack it. And I'm not saying one community or second community. I'm saying all over. You might say Sayyid comes from this community and he has, many stories from them. No. All over. I've been north, south, east, west, everywhere. The first thing I come to a center, they say to me, Sayyid, every bathroom is najis. Why? You teach the child najasat, mutahharat, but if there is no education in the house, what are you going to do with the children? How many years are you going to teach them? Once a week, maybe you have here Saturday school, maybe, yes? Once a week, 2-3 hours. What's that gonna do if the child at home is learning something different? Whole different scenario is being thrown to the child. The child gets confused. Which one is right? This one or that one? So the mother plays a big role here. Of course, the father also plays a big role. How to go to the bathroom, how to talk, not to lie, not to gossip. Until today, and this is between, myself and you, until today, I don't gossip. I don't like gossiping. Why? Because my mother from day one, she taught me, don't gossip. Why do you want to sit down and talk about other people's? Live your life. You do your own thing. Who brought what? Who did what? Let them live their lives. And you live your life. Because of one word from my mother until today, when I was a child, she said to me, live your life and they live their life. Why do you want to always interfere in other people's businesses or always want to hear what they did, what they bought, where did they travel? Some people, they're always sitting down on these phones. And unfortunately today, be careful with these phones, especially with the children, up and down, left and right. From Instagram, they finish, they go to Facebook. From Facebook, they go to Twitter. From Twitter, they go to where? TikTok. And the list goes on. Sometimes this plays the role of the mother and plays the role of the father. Isn't that right? Maybe I come from a different country, I don't know. صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Lady Fatimah al-Zahra, she used to play with Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba and she used to throw him into the air and she used to recite for Imam al-Hasan these beautiful poems. اشبه أباك يا حسن. Be like your father, Ya Hasan. Be like Ali. واخلع عن الحق الرسن. And go after haqq. Be rightful. وَاعْبُدْ إِلَهًا ذَا مَنًن. And worship God the Almighty, the absolute God. وَلَا تُوَالُ ذَا الْأَحَنِ. She used to play with them. See how they're beautiful? And she used to say to him, be like your father. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdalus salati was salam. And if you go today, both sides, the evil side and the good side, you see that the evil side, for example, serial killers, if you go today for the elders, not for the children, if you type in Ed Gein, the first serial killer in history, became a serial killer because of his mother. Many of the serial killers in the United States, they became serial killers because of the influence of the mother. Because the mother was what? Abusive. too religious, too disciplined, and abusive. Jeffrey Dunham, same thing. Ed Gein, Jeffrey Dunham, and the list goes on. I don't want to mention other names. And of course, behind every great human being is also the mother, as I mentioned, Sheikh al-Ansari and the other ulama. Is because of the mother. The mother also plays a big role there. The fourth one is the cultural education. You know, we have our culture. The mother teaches that culture, the sunnah of that. You know, if that, and I tell you this without sugarcoating it, if the culture comes in line with our religious teachings, I'm for it. If it doesn't, no. Because sometimes you see people, they say, well, Sayyidina, this is our culture. Even if it's your culture. This is everything that Islam is saying, don't do, and your culture says that. So what? Islam says otherwise. But the right culture, if it complements Islamic religious teachings, why not? Teach it to the child. The Pakistani culture, why not? The dress, the food, all of that, the language. What do we say? We don't say the father tongue, we say the mother tongue. We don't say the father tongue, we say the mother tongue. Why? Because we say it's the mother is that teaches the child. Sahih? Yes, right? What is mother tongue? Arabic. His mother tongue, Urdu. His mother tongue, Persian, Farsi. The mother tongue. And that goes after the culture. The culture is respected. Every country has its own culture. And it's passed down from one generation to the next. We don't want to come to an age, to a time that we lose first our Islamic identity, and then we lose our cultural identity, because we need those. That's what makes me unique. First, as a Muslim who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I believe in the Prophet, and of course, after that, with my culture. And the fifth one is the family education. What does that mean? A mother can teach the child to become, for the child to become a mother. Tomorrow, that same child is going to become a mother. My mother taught me how to cook. My mother taught me how to recite Quran. And I'm teaching now this to my children. Again, it's falling from one generation to the next. It's handed out. You are teaching the next generation. Same thing for the fathers. You're teaching your children tomorrow for them to become fathers. And the mother is teaching her daughters for them to become mothers, not wives. Not wives. Because wife, as I said, honeymoon phase becomes, vinegar after that. It just passes very quickly. Then the wife, she has to know how to play the role of a mother. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this in the nature of the father and the mother. That's why you see a child, a girl, when they go into a toy, shop, toy store, they go after a doll. But a male boy goes after what? Cars and such. It's their nature. Allah has put that into their nature. For them to be nurturing, for them to nurture, for them to teach. And the mother plays that role. She teaches the child Islamically, religiously, providing the right things. Learn. Tomorrow you're also going to be a mother. You also have to teach your children akhlaq, also have to teach your children Islamic, and so on and so forth. In Tehran, in Iran, there's a wealthy man originally from Pakistan. Every Muharram, this is narrated by one of the ulama, khutaba in Iran. Every Muharram, the Ashra of Muharram, when he invites people to his house for Majlis, he tells them, I invite you for Majalis with one condition, that the first 3 nights you recite the Masa'ib of Lady Fatimah al-Zahra. First 3 nights you recite the Masa'ib of Lady Fatimah al-Zahra. This alim, he says, this Muharram came on, and this wealthy businessman, he said to him, Shaykhana, first night, second night, and the third night, recite the Masa'ib of Lady Fatima for us. He said, Fulan, you know, Muharram has its own Masa'ib. First night you recite about al-Baneen. Second night you recite about, Fatima al-Alila. Third night, some people they recite, different nights, دخول دخول Imam al-Hussein to Karbala, Imam Hussein entering Karbala. And every culture, every people, they have their own thing. And then the list goes on. The nights, when you go through them, becomes Ali al-Akbar, Qasim ibn al-Hasan, Qamar Bani Hashim, to the day of Ashura. He said, Fulan, these nights that have of their own Masa'ib, why do you want me to recite the Masa'ib of Lady Fatima? He said to him, listen, that's my condition. I want you to recite these first 3 nights the Masa'ib of Lady Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha, Sayyid Nisa al-Alamin. So he continued, inshallah, sam'an wa ta'atan. First night, second night, third night, and then they continued with the religious programs to the day of Muharram. Muharram finished, first night of Sham Ghariban, the second, third. And some people, what they do in some centers, in some houses, after the 13th, they invite the speaker and the servants, the khadama, to come for a meal, and they thank them for their, hard work. So they invited all of these people. They said, come. One of them, of course, this alim, this sheikh, he was sitting right next to the homeowner, to this wealthy man. After they ate their meal and they were having their tea, he said to him, tell me why you have this condition, that everyone who recites for you, they have to recite 3 nights, the first 3 nights, for Fatima al-Zahra. He said, this is my story. Back in the 90s, I used to live in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates. Back then, I was Sunni. I wasn't Shia. I was Sunni, not Shia. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me a daughter. I used to love this daughter. I still do. I love her more than any of other my children. I love her the most. I have this connection with her. Even when I go home, I hold to her, I embrace her, I kiss her on the forehead, I put her in my lap, I feed her. I go work. The first thing I do, I call the house. How is she? Did she eat? Did she sleep? 1 hour later, again I call. I always check up on her. I didn't have WhatsApp back then. So it was this connection, landline. He said, every hour I check up on her. And I have this connection with my daughter. One day I went to work. I called the first hour. How is she doing? She just had her breakfast. She's doing right. She's playing. Don't worry. Everything is fine. My wife told me. Half an hour passed. My wife called me. She said to me, Fulan, listen, do you want your daughter alive? I said, yes. What's going on? She said to me, come to the house right now. I took my car. I drove the fastest I could. I went home. I entered the house. What's going on? This is your daughter right there. She's choking. And whatever I done for her to vomit, that coin, she swallowed the coin, has been stuck in her throat. I can't do anything to her. I can't help her. All right, what can I do? He's telling this story to the sheikh. He said, I took my daughter to the hospital, to the emergency room, and I started screaming, come, help me. They came. What's going on? My daughter is choking. They took her to the operation room. They said, we can't do anything. if you want to rescue her, take her right now to London. This is back in the 90s. I booked a private jet and I took a flight from Dubai to London. As soon as I arrived in London, I took her straight to the hospital. She has all those tubes and everything for her to breathe all this time. They've been called, they know what's going on. They've been waiting for me. They were waiting outside of the gates. They came, the doctors, they took her to the operation room. When they took her to the operation room, I stood and I was there all alone. And I didn't know the direction of Medina. When they took her to the operation room, you know, these times that you lose yourself. You lose yourself. And you have no trust in anyone except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt. He said, I faced a direction. I stood in a corner and I said, this is the direction of Medina. I don't know. Maybe this is Medina. And I started speaking with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I said, Ya Rasulullah, how much do you love Fatima? How much do you love her? I swear, I promise, and I want you in that love, with that love that you love for Fatima, that you rescue my daughter. If you do that, I become one of the servants of Fatima al-Zahra. I'm speaking with Rasulullah. This is from a father to a father. And that love that Rasulullah had to Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha. Rasulullah used to say, Fatima ummu abiha. Fatima is the mother of her father. Whenever Fatima used to come to the house of Rasulullah, he used to stand up to her and run to her and kiss her on the forehead and sit her down next to him. He said at that time, the doctors came out screaming and saying to me, oh man, come right now into the operation room. Your daughter has been rescued. I came into the operation room. I looked at my daughter and I saw that she had vomited out the coin. And I saw her crying, a young daughter of mine, very young. And she looked at me and she said to me, Father, is that you? I said, yes, that's me. She said, where is that lady that she was in this room a minute ago? I said, which lady? She said to me, oh Father, a minute ago there was a lady here, face of light. She came to me and she said to me, young girl, why are you sleeping? Get up, stand up. I sat up. She said to me, come to me. I went to her, she embraced me and she started patting my back. As soon as she did that, I vomited out that coin. And then she said to me, looking in my face, tell your father that the love of my father, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, for me is beyond imagination. You can't compare it with anything. After that, I moved from Dubai to Tehran, and every year, the first 3 nights of Muharram, I recite the Musibah of Fatima al-Zahra, and I have dedicated my life for Fatima. Salamullahi alayha. Now I ask you a question. After the demise of Rasulullah, what did the people of Medina do to Fatima? They came to Ali and they said, oh Ali, tell her to stop crying. She's been bothering us. Either she cries at night or during daytime. He came to her and he said to her, "Oh Fatima, the people have come to me and they have requested that you cry either at night or at day." She said to him, "Ya Ali, all right, whatever you ask from me, but I'm crying for my father, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam." Then I cried during daytime. She kept crying during daytime. Again, they came to Ali and they said, "Oh Ali, tell her to stop crying during daytime. We can't do business because of her crying and her weeping." So Amir al-Mu'mineen, he built for her a shed outside of the city of Medina. Every morning she takes the hands of Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, and she gets out of the city of Medina. She sits down outside in that shed crying for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But they continued, "Oh Ali, tell her to stop crying even outside of the city." And they went out and they broke down the shed until the time came and they attacked the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The second one says, "I called out for 3,000 soldiers to surrender the house of Ali ibn Abi Talib. They came, they surrendered the house of Ali. I started screaming out, 'Where is Ali? Let Ali come out of the house.' Fatima was behind the door. 'What do you want from Ali? Ali is in the house. What do you want from him? Tell him to come out and pledge his allegiance to the first one.' No. He then called out the soldiers to bring out the woods, and they compiled the woods in front of the door, and then he lit the door on fire. He himself, he mentions and he narrates, he says, 'I felt Fatima behind the door. I kicked the door, and then I felt her that she was behind the door, and there was the door and the wall. I squashed her, and then I heard her miscarriage, Muhsin. I heard her screaming out, "Wa Fiddatah! Oh, Fidda, come to me. I have now just miscarried my son Muhsin." And this man continued with beating Fatima to the day of her martyrdom. When it was the day of her martyrdom, she called Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then she said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, "Oh Ali, sit right next to me." The first question she asked Amir al-Mu'mineen, she said, "Ya Ali, I ask you, how was I as a wife? Was I a good wife?" She said that to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen sat down weeping. He said, "You are the best wife a man can ask for. Oh Fatima, what is your wasiyah? What is your will?" She said to him, "Oh Ali, Ya Ali, أوصيك إذا قضيت نحبي, when I die, oh Ali, فغسلني ولا تكشف عني." Wash me, O Ali, prepare me for burial. فإني طاهرة مطهرة. I am cleansed, I am طاهرة. وحنطني بفاضل حنوط أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وصل عليه. And then, Ya Ali, pray on me. And then, Ya Ali, this is the heartbreaking point. وَادْفُنِّي لَيْلًا لَا نَهَارًا. Bury me in the dead of night, not during daytime. Dead of night, you're the only daughter of Rasulullah. And Ya Ali, وادفني ليلا لا نهارا إذا هدأت العيون ونامت الأبصار. When everyone is fast asleep and they all have shut down their eyes. And then Ya Ali, وسرا لا جهارا, and don't let anyone come to me from the people that have oppressed me. Let my burial be in secret. Then she called Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, Lady Zainab and Lady Kulthum. She embraced all of them and she kissed all of them. And then she bid her farewell to her children. And then she recited the Shahada. And then she closed her eyes, O mu'mineen. And then she died her death. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he took her to prepare her for burial. He started washing her body. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen, Salamullahi alayhi, suddenly he stopped. He went and he sat down in the corner of the house. Oh, why, Ya Ali, are you sitting there in the corner of the house? And he started weeping, crying out loud, Oh, Fatima, wa Fatimata. The ladies came to him. Salama came, Fidda came. Ali, what's going on? Why are you crying? Sitting down, the conqueror of Khaybar, sitting down, crying like a child. They came, Oh Ali, why are you crying? He said to them, I just felt her ribs broken and I saw her body being turned black from the beating. Ya Fatima. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. Raise your hand. You all have hajat, of course. Together, recite with me. يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله. اللهم بحق فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها، اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج، اللهم عجل فرجه، سهل مخرجه، اجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة. يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة. يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين وظهور الحجة. اللهم اجعل عواقب أمورنا خيرا. اللهم أمتنا على ولاية أمير المؤمنين يا رب العالمين. الفاتحة قبلها الصلاة على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
I will request all Muslim Mu'minat to go to the main hall for Fatimiya.